Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's guide is going to be on my favorite and best rapier build I use in PvP. The rapier is paired best with the musket because they both scale with dexterity. I just think the rapier is one of the best weapons right now to use in New World. The rapier is a great weapon for attacking and defending. Majority of the time, I use the rapier to close in on my opponent, finish them, or to create distance from them. So let's take a look at the skill trees and go through this build. Alright you guys, so the three skills we're going to be looking at right here is going to be our evade strike, repulse, and our fletch. These are the three main skills I use in my build for PvP. The bread and butter of this build is the evade strike. This ability cools down really fast every time you use an ability. Let's take a look at it. So evade, perform a small reliable sidestep in your current movement direction that cancels any current activity and provides momentary invulnerability. Light attacks made during evade are performed exceptionally fast. This skill cancels any other skill or any movement that you're doing. Whether you're dodging, using repulse, using fletch, you can use this skill to combo really well into your other skills or out of your other skills. Repulse, enter into a defensive stance for 1 second. If struck during this ability, counter the attacker, stunning them briefly for 1.5 seconds. You are briefly invulnerable upon a successful repulse. This is a great ability. You can always use this at the beginning or later on in a fight. Sometimes I use it to fake out my opponents. I'll actually repulse, and if they don't hit or anything, I'll evade, attack them, or retreat. Great ability. This will stun your opponent, give you some time to finish them off, do damage, or get away. It's a great around ability. This is fletch. Leave the ground lunging forward for 10 meters in a stabbing motion, piercing through enemies, dealing 145% damage. I use this skill to either go in on my opponents or retreat. This goes through all and everything. If you're grabbed well, I find it really well to save this move for any kind of type of CC because it can actually get you out of those situations. Great ability. So we're going to be leveling all these skills to the max besides fletch, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Evade strike, gain 20 stamina immediately on use. Allegro, gain 20% movement speed for 3 seconds on use. Adiago, evading forward, gains 15% increased damage on your next light attack, ends on hit or after 1 second. Crescendo, individual successful light attacks reduce the ability of this the cooldown of this ability by 30% each. So this is the bread and butter. The reason why it's so strong is because all these skills make evade very overpowered. You get a ton of stuff every time you use evade. You gain stamina every time you use it. Your next light attack, if you move forward, you gain more damage. Every time you hit with evade, you cool it down. It's one of the best ways to use it. It does a ton of damage. This is the build. Repulse, you have insult to injury. If your repulse is triggered successfully, all your attacks become uninterruptible for 3 seconds. You can combo this with the evade strike after you stun an opponent and do tons of damage. Priority, reduce the cooldown of other rapier abilities by 20% when landing a repulse stun. More cooldowns to your kit. Lasting consequences, this basically ups the stun from 1 second to 2 seconds and leave your opponent stunned. Crowd control for a little longer. Fletch, leaving the ground. So this ability, I only level 1 of it. Basically, killing quick lunge. Killing with this ability reduces its cooldown by 80%. The reason why I didn't fully upgrade fletch is because I'm only using the skill to either go in to close my distance or to get out, to get through opponents. Other than that, backside, after performing fletch, your next critical strike attack will have its damage increase by 15%, last for 5 seconds. This could be useful for when I do fletch in but majority of the time it's either me going out. So it's not very useful. If I'm creating distance from my opponent, I won't be able to use this benefit from Fletch, because I won't be close enough to attack. Interruption: using light attack any time during Fletch will stop and perform a static continuation attack, dealing 115% damage. The reason why I don't find this skill great is because evade strike does the same thing, and if you can evade, basically it's the same thing as this skill right here. So the other traits in this skill we're going to be taking is swiftness, plus 3% haste for 4 seconds on any hit. Haste is always great to have. It makes you faster, you move faster. Red curtains: critical strikes reduce all cooldowns by 5%. So this adds on to your evade strike even more. It cools it down more. You basically can spam it. So you hit your riposte and you can just constantly spam your evade strike and do tons of damage. Perfectionist: deal 10% more damage when your health is full. This skill it's okay. I wouldn't prioritize this. If you're leveling up and you're still like level 17 rapier mastery, I would not choose this skill. You're not always at full HP. That's the only reason why. So even if you're down 1 HP, you won't be able to use this skill at all. Gain 3 stamina on any hit. You'll gain an insane amount of stamina every time you evade strike. Desperation: deal 10% more damage when your stamina is below 40%. If you're constantly spamming your stamina, this will definitely increase your damage as much as you do. Sometimes I like to evade side, roll forward, and look behind to get those backstab damage. And when you roll forward, you're using stamina, so this basically increases your damage even more. So let's talk about the Grace last skill, Momentum. Gain 25% increased damage on your next light or heavy attack after performing an ability. Ends on hit or after 3 seconds. This basically makes your build overpowered. Evade strike is on a 1-second cooldown, and you're basically proccing momentum every time you use a skill. This is where all the damage is coming from. The evade strike, riposte, Fletch, they all proc momentum, and you're doing a ton of damage. And guard: deal 10% more damage when your target has greater than 50% health. I find this very useful against tanks, anybody who's squishy. If they have more than 50% health, you do more damage to them. You can easily one-shot squishies very easily with this skill with your kit. Now this refreshing strikes, I actually take this one very early on. Probably usually like one of the first skills I get when I have like weapon level mastery 5 or however much when I have an evade strike. This basically cools down all your skills even more. This build is insane on how fast you can spam your skill. And that sums up the build. I'll repost if they proc my riposte and I stun them. I'll just hit them with a ton of evade strikes, then I'll Fletch out. You can do anything. I'm about to show y'all some tips right now. You can Fletch in, evade strike, get some hits off, and then riposte, or Fletch in, riposte, then evade strike. With this build, Rapier is so fun. I really enjoy it. There's so many cool combos that you could do. You could roll, evade strike. The evade strike is very overpowered. So I'm going to be showing y'all some tips with the Rapier. The first tip is with riposte. Whenever you riposte, you're actually in a vulnerable state where your opponents, if they know exactly when you're going to riposte, they can stop attacking, wait for you to be done with your riposte, and then do a lot of damage to you. That's why I really like to have the evade skill up. That way when you riposte, you can evade out of it. Whenever you riposte, you're gonna be in that stance for about 2 seconds, and then afterwards you'll be very vulnerable. So with Fletch, you're lunging yourself 10 meters forward in any direction. What I like to do is I'll turn my camera back to have it angled, to where I can actually turn the fletch and actually go in a different direction and trick my opponent out. So sometimes I'll like to press the fletch button, go forward, or I'll look back and actually go the other way, just like that. Just like that. So whenever you have a roll movement, you can actually evade strike out of the roll. Sometimes I'll fake out my opponent, I'll roll forward and evade strike back. It's very useful for getting out of sticky wet situations and stop doing everything. When you fletch, you can evade strike. When you roll, you can evade strike. When you attack, when you hold down the heavy attack button, you can evade strike out of it to fake out your opponent. Rapier is kind of like playing mind games with your opponent. You gotta trick them, you gotta do whatever it takes, and yeah, it's a great weapon. Your heavy attacks, it's a long build-up, but you stab them and do a ton of damage. I like to use this on an opponent that's blocking a lot. It takes away a lot of their stamina, and it breaks down their bar very, very fast. So use the heavy attack whenever somebody's blocking a lot. And for everybody to see my attributes, I actually try to get to 200 dexterity with all my weapon and points. Then the rest I'll put into constitution. I feel like once you hit 200 dexterity, you're good to go. That's all the damage buffs that you really need from it. Let's see here, 10% bonus critical damage, hit damage on stun, slowed, or rooted. This could be good. I may have to play around, but as of right now, I'm only putting 200 dexterity and then the rest in constitution. At the end of this video, I'm going to be putting up some clips of my fights and showing y'all what I do in PvP situations. But other than that, that's pretty much my full rapier build. Hope you guys liked the video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I appreciate everybody who's watching. If y'all have any tips at all with the rapier, please leave them in the comments below. Thank y'all very much. He's been doing all kinds of shit. He like oh, hold on. I'm a little participant here. Gotta get a little warm up in y'all. Bye bye. Bye bye. Sorry, bro.
Saudi.
Can I pick you up?
Do it.
Oh, I can't even pick you up.
Don't do it.
No, like I can't even pick you up. That's unfortunate. You want me to leave you here or what?
What's that skin on the gun? I was wondering. I was looking at that like black. Is that a skin or is that just a gun?
Yeah, I think it's a skin. It's my gun. It has void damage on it.
Oh, that's cool. I was wondering.
Yeah. Yeah, let me.
It's like a good and a bad thing because it looks cool, but it also like shows where you are really easily. Yeah, you can kill me. I'm probably not worth XP.
All right. I love you, bro.
I miss you.
I miss you too. Love you.
Oh.
Oh. Ouch.
Did you cut the gems out?
Stone cutting?
Oh, yes.
Oh man, that shit hurt. Holy shoot! Holy